Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Series, where I preview and predict every men's college basketball conference tournament. Now up is the Sun Belt Tournament, as this is the 11th of 31 in this series of podcasts that I'm going to do. The tournament will begin tomorrow, March 5th, as that will be the first round. The quarterfinals will be Saturday, March 6th. Semifinals Sunday, March 7th, and the championship Monday, March 8th. This tournament will be held at the Pensacola Bay Center in Pensacola, Florida. So without further ado, here we go. Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, you have the West 4 seed Arkansas State against the East 5 seed Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern 13-12 on the year, 7-9 in conference play. Arkansas State 10-12 on the year, 5-8 in conference play. My projection is Georgia Southern by 2, and the total of 139.5. Therefore, Georgia Southern moves on to the quarters. All right, next up, first round, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The East 3 seed South Alabama against the West 6 seed UL Monroe. UL Monroe 7-18 on the year, 5-13 in conference play. South Alabama 16-10 on the year, 10-7 in conference play. My projections: South Alabama 11.5, total 137.5. Therefore, South Alabama to the quarterfinals. Next up, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The West 3 seed Texas Arlington against the East 6 seed Troy. Texas Arlington 13-12 on the year, 9-8 in conference play. Troy 10-16 on the year, 4-12 in conference play. My projected line is Texas Arlington by 11, total 136.5. Therefore, Texas Arlington to the quarters. And last but not least, it actually says 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I think they meant 9:30 Eastern. And by the way, it was 6 o'clock, 6:30, and 9 Eastern. I was reading it off of Central Time. That's my apologies. So this is probably either 8:30 Eastern or 9:30 Eastern. East side seeded for Appalachian State against West 5 seed Little Rock. App State 13-11 in the year, 7-8 in conference play. Little Rock's 11-14 in the year, 7-11 in conference play. My projection is App State by a half, total 137. Therefore, App State to the quarters. All right, quarterfinals, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday night. You got East 5 seed Georgia Southern against East 1 seed Georgia State. Georgia State 14-5 on the year, 8-4 in conference play. My line is Georgia State by 10. Again, no totals for games involving teams that have, in theory, already played a game in this tournament. So, therefore, Georgia Southern was in the first round. So, and as I keep saying, totals are harder to project than lines. So, again, Georgia State by 10. Therefore, Georgia State to the semis. 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You got the East 3 seed South Alabama against the West 2 seed Louisiana Lafayette. Louisiana 16-8 on the year, 10-7 in conference play. Therefore, Louisiana moves on. I have them projected by 1.5. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You got West 3 seed Texas Arlington against the East 2 seed Coastal Carolina. Coastal 15-6 on the year, 9-5 in conference play. The line Coastal 2.5, therefore Coastal moves on. And last but not least, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, East 4 seed Appalachian State against the West 1 seed Texas State. Texas State on the year, 18-6 overall, 12-3 in conference play. The line Texas State by 10.5, therefore Texas State to the semis. All right, the semis. Sunday, March 7th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The West 2 seed Louisiana Lafayette against East 1 seed Georgia State. My line, Georgia State by 4. Therefore, Georgia State to the championship. And then at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night, East 2 seed Coastal Carolina against West 1 seed Texas State. My line, Texas State by 5.5. Therefore, Texas State to the championship. Again, another chalk. That's just how it played out. West 1 seed, Texas State against the East 1 seed, Georgia State. This should be obviously a very interesting game between these two squads. Texas State's been great all year, led by a good duo, Mason Harrell and Caleb Asbury. And then Georgia State is led by a bunch of good players. Corey Allen. You also got Justin Roberts, Kane Williams, Alil Nansami, and Jalen Thomas. That's a nice little fivesome there that they got. They're arguably the deeper team, but I have Texas State by 3.5 as my projection. Therefore, my pick to represent the Sun Belt Conference in the NCAA tournament is the Texas State Bobcats, led by an outstanding coach in Terrence Johnson, who I think has done an outstanding job coaching this team. And obviously, we already talked about Mason Harrell and Caleb Asbury, and they also got Isaiah Small on that roster as well, who is a good rebounder for them. Alrighty, next up, the Northeast Conference tournament preview and predictions.